So, good afternoon to all of you again. I have with me Sandeep Verma, who's the country head for Bayer, and I'm going to ask him certain questions, which I hope he gives answers because going to really pick up his brains right now. So, so Sandeep, tell me one thing: is we've been hearing about nutraceuticals, etc. So why we are eating food and everything? Why is this topic of nutrition so important? First of all.
Okay, so that is indeed a very provocative question, a challenging one. But because we like challenges, so see the answers want to be very simple. Uh, it's not possible to have a 100% Viksit Bharat without a 100% Poshit Bharat. As we seek to be, amongst the top three economies of the world, by 2030, which is basically our overall, vision as a country. I think the role of nutrition overall. So I'll first talk about nutrition and then I'll come to nutrition specifically. The role of nutrition cannot be of any more critical. It's at this juncture, at this moment, it's become of absolute critical importance. And let me give you maybe 4 or 5 points just to sort of get a bit more specific. So I think the first importance of nutrition is obviously to ensure that the entire country is healthy. So the public health becomes an extremely important part of what nutrition does and what nutrition can help you with. So, and I think one of the gentlemen here was mentioning in the previous sessions that the burden of disease goes down if you're healthy, and your health really starts with good nutrition, right? So that there's a very critical component. Good nutrition or things which lead to good nutrition is a very critical component of public health. I think the second point, which is a very direct relationship to the overall growth of the country, is the economic development. You cannot be at your 100% productive self if you're not 100% healthy. Simple. If you get tired too fast, if you're not able to finish your task in a day, I'm just giving a very layperson's example, which can be you and me as well. I'm not talking about any specific part of the population. It's all of us, every single person in this room. If you keep getting tired, if you're not able to finish the task, your normal task in the day, then obviously your productivity as a person goes down. And now multiply that by 1.4 billion. Okay, and then you understand the impact on overall nation's productivity, how that can go. We have the youngest median age amongst all the country in the world. We have the biggest workforce in the world, and it's critical for us to ensure that this workforce also works at its highest productive level. So that's the second important, which is that a direct correlation to the economic development as such. I think the third point here is that the diversity of a country. The diversity of a country means that 29 states, okay, can have 29 different challenges when it comes to health and nutrition, and hence it becomes imperative to ensure that every single part of the every single state or every single part of the country is studied properly to understand the specific diets over there, the specific socio-economic status over there, cultural factors over there, and then come to the actual solutions which can lead to nutrition. So again, nutrition becomes important. And I think the fourth aspect is the very rapid pace of urbanization which we are seeing in our country, which has also led to a lot of economic development and a lot of prosperity in this country. Now, the negative side of that obviously is that all of us, and again I include both of us as well, though we are slightly older than the younger guys, but so all of us also have sort of fallen prey to the kind of eating which may not be the best suited, right? It's suited to the times we keep. It's not suited to the health that we should have, right? So the rapid spread of processed foods, junk food, missing meals, etc., has also led to an issue getting worse in urban centers of the country as well. So that becomes the other one. That becomes the fourth point, which is this rapid pace of urbanization also leads you to nutrition challenges. And I think the fifth and possibly the most important point is the whole issue of women's health in this country. 1 out of 2 women in this, and I'm sure you know of all this data more than I do. 1 out of 2 women in this country is iron deficient, has some form of iron deficiency or the other, and we're all aware of that. And this doesn't mean just women in the lower economic strata. It's it's basically in this room also. One out of every women in this room, one out of two every women in this room, two women in this room would have. So these 5-6 facts or these 5-6 factors tell us how important nutrition is, or how important it is to ensure that that the health of this nation remains at its highest levels, etc. So that's the importance of nutrition.
So I seem to be eating every day, right? Proper food. So then why do I require nutraceuticals?
Yeah. So I think that probably is the biggest detractor for, or the biggest reason for people not taking supplements. And here, when I say supplements, I mean everything, nutraceuticals and the other supplements as well. I think all of us believe in the dictum of I'm okay, you are okay. Okay, so I'm eating regular meals, I'm sleeping regularly, I go to the gym, I work out regularly, so I'm good. So the point is, and I think again one of the gentlemen in the morning was talking about it, that you don't know what food you're eating, literally. Okay, you may be eating the greenest of salads, but how do you know that it's actually giving you all the nutrition that books have told you it should give you, right? And interesting, and I'll quote here a study which we conducted in India amongst almost 2,500 doctors a couple of years back, where we asked the doctors this exact question, right? Which is, if I eat a completely balanced diet, extreme, I eat a completely balanced diet from whatever the markets in India are sort of giving me. Okay, do I still need to eat supplements? Do I still need some more micronutrient supplementation? And 90% of the doctors said balanced diet is definitely the foundation of good nutrition, for sure. If you're not having a balanced diet, then there is no point of talking about nutraceuticals, honestly. But even a balanced diet can give you only up to 70% of your micronutrient deficiency. So for the balance 30, and that really starts by you eating a balanced diet completely, the balance 30 has to come from supplementation. And why do you think we have in India, and again, let me just give you some facts here. 2 billion people in this world are micronutrient deficient. So they have micronutrient deficiencies, 2 billion. And guess which country has the maximum number? And guess what percentage of this 2 billion comes from India? Take one guess. Half of that. One half. So almost 1 billion people in India. Out of the 2 billion people in the world who have micronutrient deficiencies, it's not 25%, it's almost 50%. So that should answer your question of why, etc. See, the reason for why you may not be getting it could be many, but and it really starts with the food you eat. That is the basic foundation, absolutely the basic foundation. Yeah, but from the food, why you're not getting it is, again, it's a factor of your diet. It's a factor of where are you making that food? It's a factor of where are you getting that food from. And even if you get it all right, you would still need that help. There is no getting away from it.
So basically, what are the myths? Why are people shunning away from having any kind of nutrition?
So I think the biggest issue and again I quote from a chief guest when he was talking about it, like he was saying that 15 years ago he did not even know about nutraceuticals, he did not even know about supplements and all, which is 100% true. I did not know about 10 years back, 10, 12 years back. So the biggest issue, okay, is a lack of awareness. Biggest issue, the single biggest issue. And if educated people like us, if we don't know about nutraceuticals, supplements, all these things, then imagine a common person. Imagine a person in a village, or imagine a person even in an urban center like Delhi. So the biggest challenge is the lack of awareness and lack of knowledge. And when I say lack of knowledge, I don't mean the information you get from Google. Okay, I don't mean the information you get from multiple nutrition influencers. I don't mean the information you get from all the celebrities who suddenly become nutrition experts. I mean correct information, correct knowledge, etc. Right? So that to me is the single biggest reason. Either there's a complete lack of awareness, or there's a lack of, or there is an information overload, or I would say data overload, which is not giving you the right kind of information. So that's the first one. I think the second issue is like you were saying right at the beginning. We do believe, and if I go to any state in India and ask them, which state has the most nutritious food, they're going to say my state. All of us fundamentally believe that their state or the cuisine that is made in their houses is the most nutritious, which is this whole a little bit of a head in the sand approach, that you don't want to look at the reality. Are you still able to climb that step of stairs that you were able to do very easily 1 year back? Okay, or if you're not able to do, then you say that because I'm getting old, I'm probably not able to do that. That's not true. That may be true, that may not be true as well. Is your family falling ill too often? Okay, it basically means that your immunity levels have come down. So whether you are asking the right questions, whether you are getting the right source of knowledge, whether you have the right source of knowledge, and even if you have the right source of knowledge, are you acting on it? So it is this very simple ask, know, and act approach, which I think we need to follow. I think one very genuine concern, which again what it was raised in this very same conference also, is safety of nutraceutical products or safety of any kind of supplement which I'm having. I think that is definitely a very, very genuine issue. And I think again, if I break safety into three very quick parts, one is whether every single supplement which is out there in the market, is it following all the regulatory guidelines which have been laid out? See, at the heart of it, no manufacturer wants to flout clear guidelines. Okay, no, none. So every single supplement which you are taking or which you may be taking, the manufacturers don't want to want. But it is possible that sometimes the regulation may be a little bit vague, okay, may not be clear. And hence that regulation becomes a challenge in the safety. The second thing, whether your formulation is right, whether what you are eating is really required by your body. And for that, I think simple basic medical checkups are definitely required, just to understand what it is that you are lacking in and all. Then the third part, of course, is quality. I think again somebody spoke about quality. I think it is critical for the industry, and this is where the industry has to really up its game. It's critical for the industry to step up its game on quality. Adopt standards of quality which the global companies follow. Adopt standards of quality which you would want if you are eating something, or if your family is eating something from the product that you're making. So I think there is definitely a step up required over there. So I think that constitutes the whole safety aspect, which is whether everybody is following regulations, whether the regulations are clear, whether they're being properly implemented everywhere. A second aspect is whether the formulation you have is correct, is right for your body. And the third point on quality itself, which is, and there is definitely a challenge on spurious products, as it is with every other product in India. Even the water we are having, we don't know whether it's spurious or adulterated or not. So I think that constitutes some of the issues.
So Sandeep, asking like a local Indian, how to break the myths or how to increase the awareness. Like you said, maybe there's an information overload also. So what is the industry doing about it, and what is the government?
Yeah, I think I'll talk from the industry perspective first. I think it's a duty as an industry to ensure that we are giving people the right kind of knowledge or the right kind of information. However, the entire chain does not start with that. The entire chain starts with asking the right questions. Like it is like one of the big brands had in its advertisement commercial a while back. Ask. The first step is ask. Getting consumers to ask questions. If your family is falling ill too often, okay, if you are not able to finish your work day in the office and you're falling tired by 3 p.m. or by 4 p.m., if you're not able to do simple tasks which you earlier were able to do, just get those basic symptoms, okay, and then ask yourself, why is this happening? Yeah. Either the most easy source, not easy, but the most reliable source of information on this is to just go to your general practitioner, whoever your family doctor is, your family physician is, but at least ask. So the first thing that we are trying to, we at Bayer also are trying to get the consumers to do is to ask the question itself. Then comes the source of information, which is getting them to know the right things, or getting the whole knowledge imparted. And there, I think it's critical for us to tell them that where will they be able to get this information from. So if I am asking you to act on something, I need to provide you with the tools, right, to act. So giving consumers the right source of information, whether it is from the product sites, whether it is from some other source of awareness, getting that right is the other critical part, which is to give consumers the right kind of knowledge and the right kind of information. So industry needs to be extremely transparent. The producers of products need to be very transparent in terms of whatever their source of awareness are. So I think one of the good steps which was taken by the government was to put the QR code, for example, on some of the products. I think the industry should proactively put QR codes on all their products if possible, and give the consumers the right kind of information on what they are eating, what is in this particular product, when is this supposed to be eaten, what is the kind of dosage. If that QR code can, your label is very limited. How much information will you put on the label? But using these kind of tools, these kind of digital tools, is going to help. I think the third part is like I was giving you the model is action. How do you get the consumers to act? So often we've seen that, and this is true especially for the underserved, for slightly underserved consumers or the lower income consumers, that sometimes these products are not accessible to them, either in terms of simple physical availability or the affordability of these products. So even if I ask the right questions, even if I get to know that this is what I'm supposed to do, I may not have access to those products, either through affordability or through the simple physical presence, availability of the products per se. So I think that's the third part, where the industry can actually step in and ensure that accessibility is increased, can be simply increased by enhancing your distribution channel. You may not have to do anything other than ensure that the product reaches all those parts. But I think these three points of ask, no, act is where the industry can actually help a lot. I think we at Bayer we started a new mission which is called One Nation 100% Nutrition. I see ASOCHAM has Bharat at 100. So the whole point of ensuring that we are one nation, every single person should be at 100% of the nutrition. So raising awareness of this kind of a cause, the importance of nutrition, how do you get to nutrition? I think that's really the big step. And eventually, when you adopt any nutraceutical or any supplement in your daily diet, it will need you to make certain changes in your behavior. Behavior change is a very, very long drawn out process, especially in a country like India, where you are used to eating breakfast, certain thing you're used to eating, certain thing you're used to doing. Now I'm asking you that, do you have to add one more thing in your diet? Now that takes time, and that takes persistent commitment from person who's telling you to do it, which could be your GP, could be your own self, and it also takes a commitment from the person who's actually doing it. So what we are doing through this whole One Nation 100% Nutrition is that we're asking consumers to take a pledge that at least for the next 28 days, you adopt this healthy habit of taking the right nutraceutical for you or taking the right supplement for you in your diet. Just incorporate that for 4 weeks. Okay, if you don't see any changes, please stop, or please go back to your doctor. But start the whole thing. I think the most difficult part here is this action, is to take that first step, essentially. So that's what we are pushing for.
So urban is one aspect, right? Rural is a different ball game altogether. A lot of researches that we also conduct, they will say, okay, metro cities kar lo, travel easy padega. But then the distribution channel in the rural sector, like today also we heard, a guy in a village, usko pata hi nahi hai wo sahi product kha raha hai nahi kha raha hai. How do you reach the last mile? How do you reach the 100% nutrition India, or how should I put it, well and healthy 100% India?
No, absolutely. I think that is the biggest challenge, and I think you cannot, we cannot go for all 140 in one go. We cannot go for all 140 crore in one go. It has to be done in phases. And while rural India definitely has the most number of underserved consumers, but even in our urban centers, even in tier 2 cities, even if you leave aside the 6 metros or the 8 metros, whatever you want to call it, aside of that also tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, the small town India, okay, there also you have similar challenges as you have in rural India, which is lack of media access, lack of physical access, lack of infrastructure. So all the challenges are very similar to rural India itself. I think what has helped, and here I'll the government has, by the way, you asked me a question on the government initiatives also. Government has taken many initiatives around nutrition, but one big initiative which the government has taken, which is not around nutrition, but it has helped nutrition, is the whole infrastructure push that the government, the kind of roads that we now see in interiors of India, the kind of highways that have been built, which are reducing the time connectivity between the cities and the villages, that itself has helped a lot. Yeah. So I think the first challenge is to do it in try and do it in phases. It's it. So the first phase, for example, could simply be to identify the most vulnerable part of the population. Who are the most vulnerable part of the Indian population who need supplementation the first? It'll have to be the women. So women's health needs to be, it has been prioritized, but it needs to be further prioritized. And we have to say that, look, this is the segment, okay, where the right nutrition is not only helping the mother, it is also helping the child, right? And if the child is underdeveloped, from the beginning, then the whole perpetual cycle of underdevelopment leading to poverty, that cycle just doesn't get broken. So I think the focus, and like I said, we can't do all 140 maybe in one go, but the focus has to be mother and child, and that's where we need to take the first initiatives in semi-urban India, in rural India, etc. And again, you're right. I think physical access, the industry has to push for. How do you ensure that your products are available to that particular consumer? How do you ensure that your products are affordable for the consumer? And again, we have made a small initiative over there. We've started something called the Nutrient Gap Initiative, where basically we are going to rural India. We are currently doing a pilot in parts of UP and in parts of Karnataka, where we are covering about 70,000 consumers. And what we are doing actually is we are going to them and we are first taking insights about their dietary habits, and then trying to identify, okay, what are the gaps basis their dietary habit, what are the gaps in their nutritional needs. Then we are using those insights to create content, to create the right kind of, and just go back to that act no, ask no act. This is the no part. So we are using these insights and to create the right kind of content. And then we are taking this content and then working with a lot of the healthcare workers in rural. So we are working with an NGO. The healthcare workers, we are training them with this content, and then we are going back to these consumers. So taking insights from them, we're not having a one size fits all approach that you create content for metros and then you roll it out everywhere else. We're actually going to these specific communities. So we've divided it into the entire parts of UP and Karnataka into communities, 70 communities we're going to, taking insights, creating content, training the healthcare workers, and then going back to these consumers to tell them that, look, this is what your nutrition needs are and this is what you need to add to it. So it's, like I said, it's a small step, but you have to start somewhere. I think we need maybe hundreds of such steps basically to get to a goal. But the first thing is, like you said, it is critical for us to at least address the problem and acknowledge the problem and say that we have to get all 140 billion, all 140 crore Indians nutritious, 100% nutritious.
So some years back when this health fad started coming into play and gyms sprouted up, whey proteins and all those products started coming in from abroad, etc., etc. People started making in India, and then it came to light that it's not even whey, something else only, milk powder which is mixed with a little bit of protein and just sold. Now, how important is labeling, compliances in the field of nutraceuticals?
I think again, like I was saying, because it falls straight into that bracket of the knowledge part. It's, I think, a body like Asochan, okay, can do a lot of work over here. It can take learnings from rest of the world, for example, okay, what they are doing in terms of regulations, and it can be the voice of industry. It already is, but maybe it can do more. It can be this voice of industry, okay, and take best case examples from rest of the world, and work with the government of India to sort of redefine some of the regulations, to remove some of the vagueness in the regulations. And there is a lot, and I think one of the gentlemen was talking about it, that there is a lot of lack of clarity in terms of some of these. See, what will work for the industry? What will work for the industry is if there is clarity, okay, and there is consistency. Okay, if the regulations are clear, okay, you may need one or two more, that is fine. But at least if there are two or three which are 100% clear to everyone, and they are applied 100% consistently to everyone, at least you've made a very big step from where we are currently, right? I think right now that is also a challenge, that sometimes it is left open to interpretation, okay, and which is where you then fall into the trap of not following the right regulations, not following compliances, etc., and then finally that creates that. And again, labeling is critical to get it right. especially for rural India and some semi-urban India. Remember, it is our only form of communication to that consumer, assuming that that consumer is educated, assuming that he or she can read my label. Okay, it's my only form of communication, essentially. Of course, now WhatsApp has reached everywhere, so yeah, WhatsApp is the other form of communication. But otherwise, label is really, really critical, and I think we need to look at a lot of labeling innovations. I just spoke about the QR code. Okay, I think we really need to adopt some of these. I mean, the industry needs to adopt, and the industry needs to probably, work with the government of India to get them, make them a little bit more wide stream so that everybody is aware of it. Right now, what is happening is that one or two companies may do it, or they may, do it as a novelty factor, and that's it, and nobody gets to know about it. If the entire industry gets to know about these quick innovations from labeling, it is going to benefit everyone, including the industry, and most importantly, all the consumers, etc. So I think some of the labeling innovations we need to apply, we need to apply and adopt, and like I said, consistency in regulations and compliances is probably would be the key word for me.
Surprisingly, there's no HS code. Just today I came to know about it. So how far are we behind other countries in terms of compliances, labeling? Because if we are looking at growing the industry, then we should be looking at a lot of exports also.
So look, I have very limited experience. I think there are many experts here who can answer this question much better than me. But I'll tell you my very limited perspective. I don't think we are very far behind, honestly. I think if you would ask me this question maybe 5 years ago, I would have said we are way behind. Okay, but I don't think we are very far behind. I think what we need to do more of is to identify some of these best practice countries, essentially. I think I'll give you an example over here. So we keep looking at, a lot of time we keep looking at EMA or European Union or Japan, which is one of the most regulated markets. I think it's the conditions are so different between a European Union and in India, or a Japan and in India, that sometimes it is very difficult to get it down. I think if you look at some developing countries which have done wonderful work here, I would give the example of a Philippines and a Thailand. I would give the example of a Mexico, which has done a wonderful job in regulatory compliance, or a Brazil also. I think it's important for us to identify the right set of countries, which are developing countries, and maybe learn from them. Okay, and I'm sure we can also give them a lot of our own learnings and share our own learnings. So I think that would be, for me, the biggest step to take, would be to take learnings from outside, look a little outside and see what is happening outside. We've been working, or we've been thinking about it for a very long time. I think now is the time for us to press the accelerator, and that can only happen if you put some timelines to it. That look, in the next 6 months, or in the next 1 year, I'm going to be able to do it. So looking at the right source of learnings, and putting a timeline or some milestones that by this time we'll be able to finish this, would be the next 2 steps for me going forward.
Thanks, Sandeep, for answering all my questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.